Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. Okay, lots to discuss. Lots and lots and lots to discuss. Obviously, one of the main things we're going to be talking about this evening is the situation with Mr. Kirk, who, of course, is no longer alive, and the assassination. We're going to talk about that. Let me just kind of put my phone on airplane mode so you don't get interrupted by too much notifications and beeping. And of course, I've got some of your questions here as well. So we're going to be looking at your some of your questions. We'll do the questions first. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do two questions first, and then actually the third one is about Mr. Kirk. So we'll do that. I think, oh my God, where to begin? First of all, where to begin with all of this? We have seen in the last 48 hours an absolute demonization of Democrats and anyone that is considered on the left. We have had people calling for war. People on the right saying this is our Reichstag moment. And the Reichstag moment, which they are referring to. So on one breath, they're saying, oh, they keep calling us Nazis. They're instigating all this hate. And then in the other breath, they're saying, oh, this is our Reichstag moment. What they're talking about, I think it's talking about in 1933 or thereabouts, when, and this is when Hitler was wanting to gain in power. The Reichstag was the parliament in Berlin, and it was burnt down, allegedly by a communist. And then this was then used, oh gosh, just got ringing in my ear. Yeah, look at that. Wow, a bit of a download. This was then used by the Nazis to basically clamp down on everything, everyone, and the rest is history. It is also speculated that this person, it may have been a self-done event, yeah, red flag event. So now, of course, we have this situation with Mr. Kirk, who's, you know, sadly, I mean, irrespective of his opinions and stuff, you know, being shot dead, really, like, no, that can't be endorsed. And that is just, we know that is deplorable behavior and it's not endorsed at all and should be fully denounced, which I do. It's also been said as well, ironically, because Charlie was wearing a bulletproof vest, some say if he hadn't been wearing that vest, he actually would have survived, because the bullet hit his shoulder and then ricocheted up into the neck, and what was given all the gory images, which I have not looked at. I'm not going to impregnate my mind with such graphic images. I can't watch horror films now anyway, and stuff like that, because they just stick too much. And you would have seen and heard, and also as well, of course, a lot of the democratic and left-leaning and of course political shows have been reacting, condemning the violence. And then you've had this absolute deluge, coordinated deluge from the far right saying, right, this is the liberals, this is this, get, you know, defund them, purge them. You've got the likes of Elon, yeah, Muskie, saying that the Democrats are the what is it? The party of murder. Yeah, they lambast and they complain about violent rhetoric and language, and that's all that they deal in. And then, of course, and then they say, oh, it's all transgender, it's this is what these bullets mean, all of this speculation and all of this stuff. And then what emerges? Then what emerges is that what many of us suspected, and when we were talking about, remember, on the Wednesday show, this was a breaking story. It was only an hour old, if that. And of course, we had to handle all the drama of that, and you know, many of us were saying, you know, inside job and stuff like that. And really, actually, it was. What is emerging that this guy? What is he called? I can't remember what his name is. Well, I think I might have written it here. Tyler Robinson. Apparently he confessed to the father, and then I think it was a friend of the family and may have informed the police or something like that. But this, I think he's 22 years old, absolutely steeped in guns, been shooting since he was a kid, all sorts of pictures of him and the family online brandishing guns, and they've since tried to purge their social media of all of that stuff. And they have been obviously absolutely getting it in the neck, saying that you've raised the killer, etc., all of this stuff. So the rhetoric goes from, right, the libs, they did it, transgender, they did it, destroy the liberals. And now it's like, oh, thoughts and prayers. Oh, he must have been mentally ill. This guy was a top in his grades. Very, very, very high grades. 6-bedroom house, allegedly. You know, secure family environment, obviously absolutely gun-toting. He also donated to Duck L'Orange as well. And I will use the name Duck L'Orange because, just to let you guys know, UbiTubi, yeah, this platform is now running a new AI, which is often demonetizing channels like mine. And the likes of, you know, Secular Talk and iHip News and stuff like that. Any kind of voice that is standing up for the liberal side. As you know, I don't like to go too bombastic on these things because, you know, I respect and understand this is a public platform, and every podcaster has a responsibility, of course, to not incite or inflame. And I don't do that. We don't do that anyway. You know, anyway, you guys that watch, you know, we respond, we try and use humor, and we get Shakespeare to say naughty things, you know, about people that we potentially don't like. But there's never been any incites to violence or anything like that. However, this is going to be used as an excuse. And I'm going to see what's going to happen tonight, because that Wednesday show that we did, it effectively got demonetized. Now, what does that mean? As you know, us YouTubers, we work for free. Yeah, we produce this content for free. We take our time, etc. You know, and it's a labor of love, really is. It's a lot more work than people think it is. Really, it's a lot more work than people think it is. And obviously, one of the ways that we can compensate ourselves is by putting occasional ads on our content. You've seen it on my content, everyone's content. You know, everyone uses ads pretty much, unless they can afford not to. But it's an important part because it's a compensation for the efforts put out. And of course, you know, I put ads on my channel as well. As you've seen, I only do about 5. And that's enough to, you know, cover a bit of rent and some bills and stuff like that. It just keeps everything ticking over. But imagine, of course, if a channel gets, liberal channels get demonetized, or they tinker with the algorithm again, and they use AI again to unsubscribe people or change the categories. And someone, of course, that, you know, I often mention a lot, Carl Kalinske, you know, not Secular Talk, I know a lot of you guys watch him. He's got almost 2 million subscribers, and he says that his views since this rollout have gone down by 33%. Now, he's got a team and everything like that working for him. You know, for me, you know, it's just me here. Yeah. And then, of course, my guests, yeah, which you all know and love, like I do. So in this day and age, in this era of free speech, or what should be free speech, it is not really free speech. There are rules and regulations, which are quite right. But some people are being more, shall we say, censored than others. And the naked hypocrisy and duplicity of all of this, I find it astonishing that there are still lots of people that cannot see through this. It is a brazen double standard, but that doesn't seem to matter at all. It just doesn't seem to matter. And they just keep going and they keep going and keep going because they want a certain result. Yeah. So here, someone was saying here, Yeah, JC said YouTube should stop right now. Sick of the censorship. Yeah, because it's like you can be, you know, far right leaning and spout whatever you want, and those channels don't ever seem to get taken down. Yet you mentioned Duck L'Orange, yeah, or use the, you know, use the TRUMP word, and you know, because like us YouTubers as well, we all talk to each other, and people tell me about their channels and how they've been struck down, not being able to monetize because they've pulled cards on someone, or they've been told that their content is pornographic because you know, you could see a naked boob, yet you can have, you know, blood gushing sent all over the internet, talk about the most racist and misogynistic, all of this stuff, and all of this stuff is allowed. So this hypocrisy that we are seeing is coming right from the top. We know about Duck L'Orange, that is obvious. But what about everyone else? And one of the things that that guy said, what is he called? Governor Cox, yeah? He's the governor of Utah. Spencer Cox is his name. And one of the things he said was, he said, social media has become like a cancer in society. And you know what? I think he's got a really good point. So like someone was saying here, Gatekeeper said, Groyper, extremist specialized group. Yeah, he was part of these Groyper groups, Nick Fuentes and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, obviously Nick Fuentes is minding his P's and Q's, but he was very anti Charlie Kirk. Yeah, there's this, it's just insanity. Let's just see. Sendor said Hogarth may have had their channels demonetized, but they've fought it and won. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to see what happens tonight when I click the buttons tonight. I'm going to see. And one of the things what I just want to share with you guys is that if that is the case, then I'm going to have to change things up financially. Of course I will, because you know, if you've, you know, like I said, you know, I'm not getting rich off this. No, not at all. This is, you know, it's about the passion, but it's, you know, it's covering my bills. You know, it's very useful. You know, covers my bills. Yeah, so it means at least, you know, I'm at scratch, which is very useful. Better than a slap in the face, isn't it? And I never came onto the YouTube for the money anyway, but that is useful. So if my channel does end up being demonetized because you see all those people in the White House, yeah, and you see Mark Zuckerberg was there again, you know, Bill Gates and blah blah blah, and all these people, Sam Altman, you know, wanting to get rid of everyone's jobs with AI. I know people are a big fan of AI, but it is being used that way. Over 800,000 jobs since the start of the year have, they say, have gone because of AI. We need to be aware of how this technology is being used and what these algorithms can do, because they create these echo chambers. And obviously this Tyler guy was part of a massive echo chamber. They even said, I was looking at some things, he was part of devil worship groups and all of this kind of stuff. That's hardly very Christian, isn't it? From very kind of, you know, Republican, you know, Utah. The what? In fact, what is it? They were Mormon. Yeah, they were Mormons. Not that I'm criticizing the Mormons, but you know what I mean? It was Republican through and through. So all of these false narratives that they're putting up here just to induce, I think they really want to induce, they really want to induce civil war in America, which will obviously be the utmost distraction from, of course, Epstein, yeah, all of that stuff. And obviously the bad news on the economy and the tariffs and the cuts to this, that, and the other. You know, Duck L'Orange is incredibly invested in not having us discuss those files, because it won't just implicate him, it implicates a whole bunch of other very wealthy and powerful people. And I just find this whole thing very, very convenient. One thing as well that is worth mentioning, let's not forget there were two decoys. One guy who said, I'm the shooter, and he was holding a pellet rifle apparently, and another guy that said, well, I did it. and he didn't even have a gun. What's that all about? And apparently there were some flights that took off, you know, private jet, and then it went quiet a little bit, went hidden for a while, flew back. Who knows? Also, as well, there was the whole thing with the hand gestures. Do you remember that? There's questions on that as well. When I just look at this scenario, what I see a regime that is desperate to not talk about things, desperate not to address certain things. And it's terrible what happened to Kirk. It's really, honestly, it is terrible what happened to him. It should never be like that. If you disagree with someone, you don't shoot them dead. And they did it in that very kind of public and very, very ugly way from what I've heard. And then they asked Duck L'Orange, yeah, they had a chat with Duck L'Orange, and there was a lot of loud helicopter noise. And they said, well, how are you feeling? Yeah, because apparently he said Kirk was like a son to him. Well, that doesn't mean much in that book. And he goes, oh, but you know, the architects were around the ballroom. They're doing the ballroom. Yeah. The world is crazy. Right, let's see who's in the chat, and then I'm going to get round to your questions, and we'll look a bit more about this, because I've got some ideas. My membership, I did a completely unvarnished say all of where I think this stuff is going for my membership. So you guys that are part of membership, you've got that video there. The stuff that I've said there, I can't really repeat on YouTube, to be honest. Yeah, it will get censored. It will get censored. But I've got a very, very strong idea where this is going. As you know, guys, I've been dropping the breadcrumbs for a long time, and you know, I know you guys are more than intelligent enough to fill in the gaps for yourself. But in this day and age, with this kind of oligarchic, technocratic feudalism that certain people wanting to unleash, and you know, where you can, careers and stuff can be modulated, altered, or ended at a push of a button, you know, that's not good, is it? Ah, yes. So Cheryl here said, sorry to hear about what the platform is doing. So I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see what happens. If I'm able to put the adverts up tonight, which should be able to be done in the first 10 minutes. If I'm able to do that, then maybe it's a blip. If it happens again, it is not a blip, because it's no use for any YouTuber to be able to put adverts on their content 24 hours after the video has gone up. It's just no use. It's pointless. You may as well just have nothing. Yeah, because of course it's about eyeballs. Anyway, Carly said 2 people online said something like that today. Winnie Boo, Groypers pay are Nick Puente's followers. Yeah, white supremacists to the max. Yeah, they are undiluted. They take beef with anyone that's even a whiff of moderation. And they were saying that about Mr. Kirk. Funny that, isn't it? How they're all rolling back now. Laura Loomer was out there, you know, lambasting Kirk, saying, oh, he's anti-Trump, he's this, that, and the other. Yeah, putting all of that, hate out there. But apparently it's the liberals. These people, they're, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? What the hell is going on? This is madness. Utter mad. I mean, I know I've said it, and I said I've warned you all, of course, to expect it. But when you see it unfolding, these people are insane. Absolutely insane. This is one of the most twisted, back to front, upside down cults that's ever existed. It has no congruency whatsoever. It is completely incongruent, and it doesn't even benefit the people that are in it. You know, at least with most cults, you know, you might get a bit of sex, or you get a bit of this, or you're living in some, you know, guru type place, sealed off from the world. You don't have to worry about food or money or, you know, what have you. There's normally an upside to these things. It just seems to have no upside at all. What is the point, except of this malignant hate and griping and just it's just this is not sustainable. It is just not sustainable. Let's see. Oh look, yeah. Raymond Deepak says some people posted a comment. I don't support what happened to Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk supported what happened to Charlie. Yeah, unfortunately. And then yeah, someone says I don't follow right wingers. Put here. Maybe if the content providers band together and fight this censoring, yeah, it might have to come to that. We can all join your channel, start membership. Thank you. Thank you. There are quite a few of you that are members, and it really does help. It really does help. Let's see here. Oh, hello. Libby's in. Magister Terra. I'm with the Purple Egg area. As a past game shooter, it doesn't smell right. Yeah, I still, yeah, I've got question marks. I still have questions. You cannot trust. You just cannot. You can't really believe almost anything that is put out there. And you know, the FBI. It's not like the FBI found him. Yeah, he was handed in. But how convenient. Anyways, we all are to protest censorship. Indeed. Right, I'm going to answer some of your questions. Someone said here, what a sad distraction and lengths that are done to change the narrative. Yeah, Michael Turner says. Let's answer some questions, and then we'll go back in and we'll keep sharing backwards and forwards. Let's see. Manuela Orchid has said, hi, Hoagie, I have two questions for today. First is, will Doha react to Israel? That's a good one. Second question is, how will the, I think she meant to write inauguration, be handled in the UK in the near future? How will the UK become? Because here, look, she's written here, inauguration, but I think she's meant to write inauguration, but there's not going to be, well, technically, there's not going to be another one, isn't it, for another 4 years? Technically, if elections happen. Oh, immigration. I think she meant to write, oh, yeah, how will the immigration be handled in the UK? Sorry, I saw that as inauguration. Immigration be handled in the UK. How will the UK become? Oh, and thirdly, when will Uranus be on Algol? All right, so let's talk about Algol. Yeah, I think I'm out of focus. Is that better? I wanted to do this on my phone, but again, not enough. There's just not enough time. There's just not enough time. Like, I've barely slept. Many of us YouTubers have barely slept because this is just intense stuff. And the rhetoric that has been going around, it's very, very intense. So first one, I'll answer the Algol one first. So Uranus is currently, let's see. Let me just let me see if I can get my see if I can get my software up so I can tell you the degree. I won't go into the depths of the depths, but let's just answer that one and then just get into your excellent questions. And then what I'm going to do is let's do share screen, because you know, when it's just us, we can dive in and do a little bit of astrology, can't we? Let's do this, and this time I'm going to make sure that you can see the chart. Let me just move this over to the side. There we are. It looks gray now, and then I'm going to do file, new birth chart. We're going to do today. Let's just call it Uranus. And let's do Washington, D.C., calculate. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to move this. What's going on? Weird things. 1 minute. What on earth? What happened? Gee whiz. I don't know what's, sorry. Some weird stuff has just gone on. All right, let's go back. I don't know. Oh, what an, oh my God. Do you see? Oh. All right, 1 minute. Stay calm, Hoagie. I'm trying to stay calm here as this thing is just completely going doolally. Let's click on why. Oh, gee whiz. I hate when stuff like that happens. Anyway, let's pull this down. Sorry, a bit of a dramatic reaction from me there. Anyway, you should be able to see, hopefully, can you see the chart? Is it there? Yeah. I think you can see the chart. All right. This is where the planets are right now. So you can see here, Uranus is retrograde. Yeah, currently retrograde at 7 degrees 13 minutes. I think it went retrograde a week or so ago. Anyway, when a planet goes retrograde, it means review, revise, reassess. Also, as well, it can also be considered more powerful because it is closer to the sun. The star Algol sits at 1 degree and 10 minutes of sidereal Taurus. You can't see the star here on this chart, but it would be over here. In astrology, we normally count an orb of 3 degrees or less is pretty much a direct hit. So Uranus, the planet of sudden shocks and surprises, is moving backwards in the sky, going back towards the Algol energy, which of course is what? It is the Medusa star. It deals with beheadings. Sadly, it does. Deals with beheadings, it deals with assassinations, it deals with the ending of careers, stuff like this. As you know, I was saying in the summer of 2024, I said around July, there's going to be a big thing happening for the Democrats, but also the Republican Party. And I said Trump's life is, in danger. And sure enough, the shooter went for him. And then, of course, Biden had to also as well step down. We have now had, of course, the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. And what happened? The bullet was aimed at his shoulder, bounced off and hit him in the neck. Yeah. Which is still what? The head. It's kind of almost like, I don't even want to, you guys know what I mean. We all know what happened to Medusa. It's like, that's like what's happened to him. So the energy of this is going to be building up for a while. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the animated transit so you can see, and we're going to click forward month by month. I knew that Uranus was going to go retrograde again. I didn't realize it was going to come so close back to the star. I think it comes back around about to 3 degrees, which of course is very close orb. So if we see down here, you see here, I'm going to do monthly. So of course, today is now the 13th of September, 2025, the 12th for you guys watching the United States, because of course you're at least 5 hours behind. Anyway, let's click forward. I want you to focus on this box here, yeah, where Uranus is. So let's go forward a month. So we see it goes down to 6 degrees 41. This is 13th of October. Forward another month. He is now at, this is 12th of November, 5 degrees and loose change. Then December, getting closer to the stars still at 4 degrees, 23 minutes. And this is the 12th of the 12th. Go back again. So now we're getting into January. You see he's at 3 degrees, 28 minutes. Let's do weekly and see how low he gets. Yeah, it hovers around about 3 degrees 21. 316 he goes down to 314, and then I think he starts to go direct. Yeah, starts to go direct. So let's get that day when he starts going direct. Here we are. So he's stationary direct on the 4th of February 2026. So he's still not moving. When a planet stations, it becomes even more powerful. So in this time, literally Uranus is going to be stationed conjunct the star Algol. So imagine what is going to be happening over the next few months. Because you see, he goes back, and then he's going to stand still. And then he'll move, and that really should be the last time. So then we go forward again, monthly, to see how he moves off. We're now in March 2026. Then he starts to move again. And then eventually, once we get to May 2026, he's now 6 degrees away, and that's when the effect should lessen. And then you see he starts to move forward at more pace as 2026 unfolds. But there's so many bits and bobs and loose moving parts in between. Let's just do the stop share for now. And let me just smooth this out a bit. The screen is a bit, I don't know. There we are. Anyway, so we are under this energy for a while, folks. Yeah, for a while. All right, let's look here. Let's do, how will immigration be handled in the UK in the near future? Let's look at that. And then we'll look at Doha and then go back to Charlie. All right. So I hope you guys found that interesting. Oh, gosh. We are in extraordinary times, guys. Extraordinary times. Wow, 950 of you right here. Thank you so much, everyone. Please be sure as well to like and subscribe and press that bell notification to make sure you're notified in case the AI and the algorithm has unsubscribed you, just in case, you know. And I also want to say as well, for entertainment purposes only. Oh, this day and age. And thank you as well to everyone. I made it to 30,000 subscribers. Yay. It's a nice landmark, isn't it? It's a nice landmark. All right, immigration, UK. I'll get some more of your reactions in, guys. I ate a lot after tennis today because I didn't even have to, I had breakfast this morning quite late, around about 11:30, because I wake up late because I go to bed so late, as you can imagine. And I barely had anything to eat all day. So, and then I played tennis on top of that. So I really went for it. Wow. So many major arcana. All right. Well, if we look here, we see here the victory card. Yeah, the 6 of Wands. This is about riding in triumph and all of that kind of stuff. And the question was about immigration. So obviously the UK government has to deal with that. So in some sense, it's like there's some kind of success or some kind of victory there. If we see in the obstacle position, yeah, we have here the merchant. You can see literally giving out to the poor here. Of course, this will describe the situation of most immigrants that arrive anywhere, particularly, I mean, they've paid a lot to their smugglers, but typically when they come, they don't have much money. And I think this is, and of course, this could also be a card that is talking about charity, but it's showing in the obstacle position. So a lot of people feel upset about, you know, the charity that is being, I mean, they've been kept in hotels and stuff like that. And a lot of people have taken umbrage with that. And there's been protests and stuff like that in the UK outside these hotels. So it looks like, you know, they're going to be reducing the money because this is showing in some obstacle position here. If we look here, though, we also see the whole world. Yeah, of course, the migrants are coming from all over the world. What this says to me is that this is a global issue. If we think of inequality in terms, particularly when it comes to money, wealth inequality, etc., when we think a lot of these countries are war-torn or, you know, they just don't have investment. One of the things that I wanted to give a slogan to whichever government was in power at one point, which was going to be from aid to trade. Yeah, aid to trade. It is better to build up these countries where people are emigrating from, so they've got something to work with. You know, if you're coming from like sub-Saharan Africa, for example, you know, where, you know, the average family is like 13, 14 kids, but the GDP of the nation is so low. I mean, what chances really do you have? It just becomes logical. Even if you're staying in a, you know, migrant hotel or something like that, that's still going to be way better than what you've got there. Or if you think of the collapse of Syria, for example, and then, you know, Lebanon, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, all of this conflict, it generates, you know, generates this stuff. So it shows, look, it's a global issue. However, we've got the sun card here, which is talking about clarity, illumination, enlightenment. Yeah, so there's going to be some breakthrough of some kind. Of course, this could happen globally, but this is particularly for the UK because that's what the question is. And then we have here, we have the star card. Now, this is quite funny. Well, not funny. I mean, funny as in quirky. Because you know I associate this card with Duck L'Orange, yeah, or the narcissist. That is not in the official books. This is because I read so much political stuff. I also have my own way of interpreting the cards. And isn't it funny? I think Duck L'Orange is visiting the UK next week. So this is also him. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be talking about immigration and stuff like that. But in the positive, this is a card of replenishment. Yeah, the universe has got your back. So it looks like the UK government's probably going to work out some kind of working policy or something like that. Those cards are actually quite positive. So there's that, Uranus, and then look, let's look at Doha. Will Doha react to Israel? Okay, let's take a look. I mean, Netanyahu is just doing whatever he wants, isn't he? Oh, thank you so much. Wednesday's show was excellent. From one artist to another, many blessings. Oh, thank you. Much appreciated. That's love nature. And let me do some more thank yous as well. No Names has become a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. That will really help. And you're going to be able to see that video and my teachings, lessons, and all of this kind of stuff. Let's see here. Brittany saying malignant is the food benefit attraction of and for MAGA. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Sue Todd said has also given a donation. Much appreciated. Thank you, guy. Honestly, I'm feeling the love. Can you feel the love tonight? Oh, I can barely sing at the moment because I've been working so hard. I've been doing so many consultations. I'm really quite hoarse, but I do love to sing. I'm told I have a nice voice. All right, so what was this? Doha. How will Doha respond to Israel? Oh, Netanyahu is rampant. He's like a rabid dog right now. He's just running around doing whatever he wants. Putin's like, oh, sending things here, sending things there. And then Duck L'Orange is my ballroom. I mean, oh, what times we are in. I mean, what times we are in. I knew we'd have some crazy stuff, but even when you anticipate it, it doesn't matter. It's still shocking. Oh, this is interesting. All right. Doha's going to collaborate. Yeah, this is Three of Pentacles, which is the, you know, the main one of negotiation, collaboration, working on a shared plan. So they're working on a plan, guys. They're working on a plan. They may think they're going to collaborate with other countries. Maybe they might try and go for sanctions, or they're going to try and do something in order to have group pressure. But either way, they're going to be collaborating with other countries. Yeah. If we look here, the next card that is out is the Ace of Swords, which of course is the sword of truth and justice. And this can also be about justice for victims and stuff like that. So they know what's happened. They have seen absolute clarity on this. I don't think they got the top negotiators, but they did kill some people. And I think they're going to be collaborating with the truth, yeah, taking this truth out into the world, or the intelligence that they've gathered. Either way, they're going to be collaborating, yeah. Now, if we look here, this is about, look, we got the 10 of Pentacles here, which is about a legacy, a foundation, setting a foundation, setting a legacy. This is the only card that's got all generations on it. You have the grandpa here, you've got his children here, the grandchildren are there in the back, and you got the dogs. Oh, there's 1,000 of you now. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. So in this spirit of truth and collaboration, they are wanting to build a lasting legacy. So this, what this says to me, this could be treaties, alliances. Yeah. If we look here, we also have the 8 of Wands, which is messages. This can also deal with aviation. This could also deal with things coming out of the sky. Sometimes it can be missiles I associate with this. We'll have to see whether or not. I doubt they will take on Israel directly because they're too well funded and they're too well supported. But what this says to me is that the messages are flying around backwards and forwards. They're really going to be working hard to negotiate a position, and they're moving with haste. They're going with speed. They're not hanging about. But if you look, the outcome card here is the King of Cups, which in general is a benevolent card. It is associated with democracy. So what this says to me is, I think what Doha is going to do is they're looking to build a consensus. Yeah, a global, either a global consensus, but more likely a regional consensus. So they might be having chats, for example, with the Saudis and the other kind of OPEC nations and stuff about what to do about the aggressor. Yeah, but it doesn't look like they're looking for immediate violence, but this is more in the spirit of collaboration. That's how I see it there, and it could actually be very effective. Could actually be very effective, because if they get that 10 of Pentacles outcome, yeah, or not the outcome, but if they get that as their desired outcome, then it will be a lasting legacy. Yeah. All right. Now we've got is the other two questions are Charlie Kirk questions. So let's just dive in. Let me slurp my drink. Try and keep the vocal cords lubricated, but it's mainly from talking, because of course consultations you have to talk. It's easier with follow-ups because we cover it's after that we're just dialoguing backwards and forwards about specific questions. Anyway, so Marvel Johnson said, what exactly was the purpose of those hand signals behind Kirk just before he was hit? Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, and again for entertainment purposes only, there was a guy that had a camera and had a cap, and he did this and he did that. And that could have been something involuntary. But there was this other guy who did, like, I don't know what he did. It was like this, black top, glasses, and it was like something like this. I can't remember. I might be getting that wrong, but it was in that ballpark of gesture. It wasn't like flicking a mosquito or something like that. And then, of course, the gunfire went off. We also as well have those two people that seem to be decoys. And what you got to remember is as well, when it comes to things like assassination, particularly assassinations in the States, you can never take these things at face value. There's almost always a patsy, yeah? There's always a fall guy, yeah? As we saw with, again, for entertainment purposes only, like we saw with JFK, yeah? And then it emerged later on, it was the States, yeah? So someone like Kirk is actually very easy to take out because he has security, but he doesn't have a security detail. He's not got people sweeping buildings and all that. He's a podcaster, at the end of the day, a very influential one, but this isn't someone who's getting government protection, where they're sweeping the buildings and all of that kind of stuff. And we even see in the case with Duck L'Orange, they didn't sweep, and I think the other shooter was actually technically closer, but he was a poor shot. Yeah, this one didn't miss. Yeah. At some point, it's not good for me to look now, but at some point it might be worth me looking at Charlie Kirk's chart to see what was going on, particularly with that activation of Algol as well. Algol, he may well have a planet right there. If it's within 3 degrees, then it can have that kind of effect, sadly. All right. Purpose, handshakes, what was going on? And thanks for joining me, everyone. Much appreciated. Handshakes. What's going on? If the cards are bland or neutral, then it's probably nothing. But if we get like cards like the Devil or the Magician or The Death card, of course. Four of Swords. Or the Seven of Swords. Anything that is sneaky or death suggesting, or the Moon, High Priestess, anything like that, it means there was something more. So let's see. Ah. Wow, isn't that interesting? I wasn't expecting that. Ooh. I think I know what this means. Wow. Here we go. For entertainment purposes only, and I'm going to pull a clarifier on the last card in particular. Here we have the Justice, yeah, the Justice card. And you might be thinking, oh, Hergy, why such a deep breath on a Justice card? You know, it just means, you know, a legal decision in your favor. But what we need to remember is that I don't just associate that with this card. This card can talk about contracts and agreements. Contracts, signed documents, stuff like that. Legal framework, legalese. But I associate this with contracts as well, agreements. Think about that. What's another word where you had to have contract and the next letters begin with K-I-L-L-I-N-G-S? Yeah. The next card that comes out is the Three of Cups, which is a card of celebration. Who would be celebrating, yeah, some kind of contract? This is a card where you celebrate something when something has been successful, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? A successful contract. Oh my gosh. Who? King of Pentacles. Sometimes this is Duck L'Orange, but not always. But it deals with oligarchy, powerful people, influential people. Yeah, people who've got a bit of money. Yeah, this suggests that maybe someone was paid, or there's some kind of tip off or payoff. Like you be the patsy, and you know your family is all right. You get a ton of money, or you know you come out after a few years, whatever. It doesn't matter. Either way, there's money behind this. If we look here, the next card that comes out is the Seven of Pentacles. So we see coins again, but this card I referred to as a card of ROI, return on your investment. This is also a card of what? Planning. Because here the farmers had to sow the seeds in advance. Yeah, this is actually a very premeditated card. This is like you having a business plan, executing that business plan, and then you're getting your results afterwards. That's how I interpret this card. Yeah, it's not by accident that he's standing there. This yield had to be sown. So when we start to look at this, yeah, we have potentially a contract. They're happy that with the contract it's been fulfilled. A wealthy person, yeah, probably a patron, who has invested in a certain someone, Mr. Kirk, not being around anymore. And then look at the outcome card. Oof. Four of Wands. And we all know what I associate this card with. Yeah. The White House. And isn't it interesting? When Duck L'Orange was asked, how are you feeling? You must be so cut up inside. He didn't even mention him. He was like, oh, you know, I'm doing good. You know, we got the working on the ballroom. Yeah, working on the ballroom. This is a card that also talks about not only the White House, but real estate. It's literally about building a house or building a structure, reaching a landmark. Yeah. Oh, at last. Whew. I don't have to talk about Epstein anymore. I can talk about my beautiful ballroom instead. Yeah. Oh. So do you see? I'm not saying, again, for entertainment purposes only, but someone is very happy not to be talking about other things right now. Just putting that out there. And that's why I said I was a bit surprised at that cards. Let me know your comments below. And I know many of you pull cards as well. Let me know what you got too. But oof, when you put that together, someone's very happy not to be talking about you know who. Certain someone who's turning up in books. Yeah. Wow. All right, next question. So this is coming from Denise Ferguson, and let me let you in on this one here. Trump flew Charlie Kirk's body back in Air Force 2 and ordered flags at half-mast. I believe Trump sees this as an opportunity and is up to something. What do the cards have to say? Well, in a funny way, in answering Marvel's question, this is almost like your question has been answered as well, but I'll pull again. Someone's saying, seems there are, Raymond, seems there are likenesses and many similarities between Crooks and Robertson assassins. Just saying. I'm not sure who that is. Forgive me. Sorry. Bit of ignorance there on my part. Let's see. Denise says, I thought the duck would be bedridden by now, but he's just as energetic as ever. His energy must thrive on hate. It's where he gets his strength. Yeah. As you guys have heard me say before, when all of this was all kind of kicking off, and I've said before, I said, if you want to get rid of Trump, you have to ignore him. Yeah. Malignant narcissists thrive on any kind of attention, be it praise or infamy. In fact, they actually like infamy a little bit more. Yeah, it gets their, they love being notorious. Yeah. And of course, I think he's got those wires, they got the pacemaker, they got a bit of the AI going as well as their backup. But you know, he one of his main things from those cards there, it looks like he's relieved that for once the conversation, you know, isn't about, you know, Mr. Stein. I am Eloa. You are so loved and appreciated. Thank you. Thank you so much for your donation. Much appreciate that. And Mariana Colton, thank you as well for your donation. Much appreciated. Give me a super sticker there. All right, let's have a little look-see. So Trump threw Charlie Kirk's body back to Air Force 2 and ordered flags at half-mast. I believe Trump sees that as an opportunity and is up to something. What do the cards have to say? Well, he's certainly happy not to be talking about the files. They asked him and they spoke about the ballroom, you know. Let's see if any cards come back. Wow. But that's Duck Larange, you know. That's how he is. Remember, he's sun sign Taurus, you know, in Vedic, and it can be a very materialistic sign. The shadow of it can be very, very materialistic. I think all the gold toilet seats and all that stuff. It's probably going to have stars spangled all across the ceiling. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. It's going to be gaudy, but he's going to go for it. I think it's got like going to be a cross between like Las Vegas and Versailles. I think that's his sort of style. Let's see. Opportunity and is up to something. Does Trump see this as an opportunity? Let's ask that. And how's he going to use this? How is Trump Duck Larange going to use this Kirk situation? And you know, with the Groiper stuff, it's kind of like, because remember they were getting all hot and bothered and quite turned on, I think, by Gavin Newsom, and I think Fuentes. Oh look, Fuentes was saying, look at Newsom. Yeah, he's a Democrat, but he looks so sociopathic, and he was really getting excited by it all. It's like this culture is. It's just like mind-bending. Anyway, so Denise says, I believe Trump sees this as an opportunity and is up to something. What do the cards have to say? Here we go. This is interesting. Yeah. All right, let's see what this is about. All right. So straight off the bat here, we get the 11. Sorry, the 11. I'm tired. The King of Swords. The King of Swords, which the conventional interpretation is an astute, sharp-minded, astute man. Yeah. So of course we can't be talking about, but the question is about Trump. Yeah, and he's certainly not sharp. Yeah. Remember, though, what I also associate the King and the Queen of Swords with, I associate them with accounting as well. Accounting, money, finance. Yeah. If we look here, we see the 8 of Pentacles, which is about working on a project, building towards something. It could be education, or it could be educational, but it's diligent hard work building something. With the previous reading, which it alluded to, we all know what Duck Larange is building. Yeah, his beautiful ballroom. He's mentioned, you know, we've got, you know, Russia flying, you know, drones over Poland, and, you know, Qatar getting bombed by Netanyahu, and he was with the architects. Yeah, drawing up plans. Yeah. Ideas, concepts, the air signs, the swords deal with the element of air, and they always deal with ideas, concepts. Now, why is he working so hard? Yeah. Ooh, because he's trying to avoid this. As you know, I associate the 4 of Swords more with death than the actual death card. The death card is actually transformation, or a transformation we can't avoid. Meaning we have to change our ways, our mindset, our outlook on something. This can literally mean it. Why do I say that? Because he's in a mausoleum. This character is dead. And he's in the church. Yeah, it's already happened. This can also be a card of reflection, meditation, etc., and all of that kind of stuff. But as you know, as we've said, Trump's health is not that great. I think he was fitted with a pacemaker, by the way, because I saw the wires going down. This is why we didn't see him for a few days. And of course, if you've got congestive heart failure, then of course you're going to need a bit of help. If he has had that, and obviously if the operation has been successful, that could extend him for a bit, unless he stands, of course, next to any strong magnets, you know, just saying. But it's trying to avoid that. Yeah, it's building, do you see? Talking, making plans, looking at the budget. Yeah, he says, oh, I'm going to use my own money. Yeah, he's looking at the budget, the accounting, how much it's going to cost, yeah, to do the work. He literally was with the accountants. He's worried. Yeah, he knows that his time is near, wants to get this work done. And he wants to what? Enshrine himself as emperor. I will rule forever. Yeah. He also sees that as his legacy as well. You know, he'll probably fit with a throne, to be honest. I'm sure there'll be a ballroom with a big throne there, and a karaoke machine, of course, so his daughter-in-law can do a little bit of sing-song. Sure, he'll have YMCA playing as well. But this is what he wants, yeah? And then the outcome card, just in case we were not sure, look at this. The King of Pentacles returns. So again, this is also about the oligarchy, his donors, the people that have paid up. This also as well could also talk a bit about J.D. Vance as well, because he's probably going to be the one to get to enjoy it, isn't it? Logically, I'm not saying that that's what I want for him, but of course, if Duck Larange is no more, then obviously Vance will be there, and I'm sure he's looking forward to that as well. So we see that stuff there. So I think they've been flying the flags at half mast. And he's going to get, is it the Medal of Honor or something like that? The highest, was it the highest honor that a person can get? Posthumously, he's getting that. And of course, he's going to be, well, they can't quite give him the martyrdom thing, can they? Yeah, because he's been, you know, as they say, the telephone, the call was coming from in the room again. Yeah. So they can't quite say, give him the whole martyrdom and, oh, you know, the libtards and all of this kind of stuff. You know, it's a bit more muted now. Thank you so much, Brent. But nonetheless, Dr. Laurent is going to try and take a maximum advantage of this, because of course he doesn't want to talk about those files. So I think I'll leave it there. Gosh, my voice is tired, and that is an hour, by the way. Gosh, that went quickly. I hope you guys found that interesting. Thank you as well for all the donations. Thank you for supporting the show. Let's see if I'm able to put the ads on. If you see the ads on, then if you're joining me later, then you know, maybe it's all right. If you don't see any ads, then we're going to be having a conversation, because I'm going to need to change up things. But also as well, just to let you guys in, I've been working on something which is like one-to-ones, where I see clients 2 to 3 times a week, but we work together on everything that you want to, change in your life, looking at your, love life, finances, your Mahadasha sequence, courses, getting education on this, so people can be empowered, so they can understand the algorithm of their own life, as it were. The readings recently have just been off the charts. I've been in my own chart, I've got K2 going over Saturn. It's just gone over Saturn, and that can actually be quite a worrying transit. A lot of people kick the bucket with that one, but not always, of course. But if a person is spiritual, they say it can deepen that person's spirituality. The psychic stuff is just ridiculous, because I am psychic. I don't make a big deal of it, as you guys know, and but there is a lot of stuff that I've seen coming that is coming true, but I've put that in the membership because really it's not really for this kind of public discussion. I drop the breadcrumbs and you guys can fill it in, but gosh, but the readings and the powers and the insights, and it's just so, as the world is getting crazier, it's like my abilities are getting stronger. That's what I find. And I think as the more that the shadow gets darker, it's like the light gets brighter. Let me know, you guys, because I know many of you are spiritual, many of you are gifted, many of you are shamanic, many of you know your tarot, your crystals, very intelligent, astute people. Have you been getting more psychic dreams, more psychic gifts, stuff like that? Do let me know. But thank you, everyone. Time to totter off now. I don't want to drag on too long, because you guys got other things to watch, of course, not just me. Thank you, Marvel. Much appreciated. And of course, as well, I'm doing my retreat. That's still going ahead. Come hell or high water, has to be done. Which of course is the 11th to the 7th of November in Ibiza. If you want to escape, you want to get away from all this madness and be with the spirit of Esvedra and the energy of that beautiful island. It's not just a party place, it is deeply spiritual. 5-star food, hotel, the whole shebang, and it's very reasonable as well. But anyway, I will leave it there. That will be linked in the description below. Bye-bye for now, everyone, and you will see me, I would say next week, but you never know. I might have to do something on Sunday at this rate. Yeah, so anyway, I will leave it there. Big love, everyone, and goodbye for now. Mwah! Cheers.